So, ladies and gentlemen, Arrowhead Studios CCO speaks out against forcing DEI into games. Have you noticed that there seems to be a shifting of the culture as it relates to gaming? Because I've noticed it. People like this would never have dared to say anything about this in the past. I think it's a combination of things. If you want to know my opinion on it, it's simply this. The string of colossal failures, mixed with layoffs, mixed with a decline in morale and all these other things combined, I think that people in the gaming industry have had enough. There was a time where being tolerant, quote unquote, being accepting, quote unquote, it's just what you did. Because if you didn't, then you were a bigot. And when these people were riding high off of the work of other better people, and the franchises were making money, they could say or do what they wanted. But over time, there has been a definite decline. There has been a de-evolution in gaming, to the point where people look at the graphics and the aesthetics and the mechanics of games from 2011, and they say, wow, that's so much better than what we're getting today. And a lot of it has to do with DEI. Absolutely, 100%. When you hire the least qualified people, when you hire mentally ill activists on Reddit and Discord and Twitter, you're going to get an inferior product, and you're going to get people that just tune out because they don't want to go to battle every time they look at their favorite game potentially being released. Oh, there's another version of Call of Duty. Oh, well, you're a bigot if you don't like the new direction of Call of Duty that has Meg the Stallion twerking as she fires her gun. There is definitely a pushback against this. And it has been going on for some time, but it's gaining a lot of momentum because people are sick of it. And to be honest, a lot of people working at these studios are now sick of it. Because they either themselves are being laid off or fired, or they're watching their friends that they've worked with for a long time be laid off and fired. They're watching everyone around them be let go. And why? The game failed. The game flopped. It didn't do well. Concord. And a lot of these people are thinking back to those writing rooms and those creative spaces where all these people get together, and they remember all of the bravado and the, oh, well, we need to make the character look like this to be more inclusive. They remember all of that. And it was that sort of arrogance, it was that sort of attitude that got a lot of them put in a position where their livelihood is at risk. So now the Arrowhead Studio CCO comes out and says, no, forcing DI into games is wrong. Here's what he actually said. If it doesn't add to the game experience, it detracts. And games should be a pure pursuit of amazing moments. I don't like labels, but mankind is united in its extreme xenophobia on Super Earth. Hashtag inclusion, so maybe that's DEI? I don't know. Make good games. Don't make a contemporary political statement. There's nothing objectionable about that. And yet he's being responded to and talked down to on Twitter by these mentally ill, morally deficient freaks. They go, oh, you didn't even play your game? Well, first of all, Helldivers 2 is satire. It's political satire. There's no question about that. It's not a one-for-one for whatever fringe, freak, lunatic belief that you have that you want to, slap it and paste it onto. But more to the point, when you look at Helldivers 2, not to get too far into the weeds, but it doesn't line up one-for-one with what you're talking about, which is why it's its own thing. It's a play on Warhammer. That's what it is. It's a play on the Warhammer 40k universe. And Starship Troopers. It's a whole different take on that. while paying homage to these greats of the past. So, no, it's not making the statement that you think that it's making. Oh, it's a right wing. It's making fun of right wing. No, it's not. You think that the people that you would want the game to make fun of, you think that they would be okay with, this version of Super Earth, where the white guy is married to a black chick and they have a mixed race kid? Like, you go on your ship and your second in command is black, and the two female officers on the ship are both women of color. You think that a right wing fascist is going to be like, like this represents me? No, of course not. It's meant to be a parody. It's meant to be a joke of a whole bunch of stuff. It's not made by people like you that just need a one-for-one, easy to digest, simple political message put into a game to reinforce all your crazy, deranged bullshit. This guy's coming out and making a very benign statement. Hey, DEI, if it doesn't improve the game, it shouldn't be there. And Space Marines 2 is a perfect example of doing all of this stuff in the serious. Helldivers 2 is, by serious, I mean, overly exaggerated, comically over the top. But when it comes to Helldivers 2 is more satirical. It's more, of a comedic take on the exaggeration. So, I can't believe that you people are so stupid you don't understand that. But it's absurd. What we can take away from Pilested's comments is that adding DEI elements to a game just to tick a box is wrong. If it doesn't add value to the game, in that case, it's detracting value and serving no purpose, potentially spoiling the pure pursuit of amazing moments. He's absolutely right. He's absolutely correct about that. That if a game doesn't have the elements that make the players happy, then it's failed fundamentally as not only as a product, but as an entertainment tool. Because if you want to tell a story to your friends in the middle of a room, and you want them all to laugh, and they're all required apparently by law to laugh at your DEI jokes, that's fine, round of applause for you. But when you put the game out into the public and you are expecting people to pay money for this, there's a different dynamic. No one is required to clap for you. No one is required to believe your bullshit. And people can be honest about what they actually think. And that's where you come into a problem. And that's why a lot of these freaks have ran to Blue Sky. Because Blue Sky allows them to be as wrong and as pathetic and as disgusting and weird and degenerate and pervert and creepy as they usually are within their echo chamber at the gaming studios. It allows them to be as absolutely immoral and indefensibly evil as they usually are. And they don't have to face criticism, mockery, or pushback. That's why they look for these safe spaces. But in reality, when they come face to face with the real world and the way that people actually think, their ideas are crushed and it doesn't even take a second. DEI into games is a mistake every time. It's clear that the people that you're pandering to, they're not there for the long haul. They never will be. They're only looking for the next political win, which means that when your game or your movie or your comic book doesn't meet that level of being relevant, they're not going to stick by it. They're going to drop it and move on because they were never fans. They're opportunists. They look for the opportunity to take something that's popular and ruin it for their own ends. They're not looking for the long-term benefits. These people are essentially the political version of corporations that dump toxic waste into the water. The corporation doesn't care about the damage to the environment. It doesn't care that you had a pristine, crystal clear lake. No, they had something that they wanted to do. It was obviously cheaper to dump it into the water rather than transporting it somewhere in, safe containers, safe barrels that are clearly marked for disposal. It was easier. It was cheaper. We just dumped it in the water. That's the way that these people are with their politics. They don't care about the ramifications or the backlash. They don't give a shit about any of that. They will dump their highly toxic radioactive goop into the gaming water supply and then basically just fluff off the consequences and say, oh, well, yeah, a bunch of people got laid off. Oh, the game failed. Gamers are racist, misogynist, xenophobic, transphobic, phobic. They don't take any accountability, just like the corporation doesn't take any accountability for what it was doing. These people are the human equivalent of toxic goop. They are toxic waste. That is what they are. They are human toxic waste. And so keeping them out of gaming is only going to be better for you in the long run. Now, this guy can't say that. But I would venture a guess that he and a lot of other people deep down believe that to be true. That getting these people out of these studios and out of these leadership positions would only enhance and better the gaming community and the communication between the gamer, the customer, and the developer and the studio. Unfortunately, we don't have more people like this guy coming out making a statement like this, because this was a great statement. It wasn't over the top. It wasn't incendiary or inflammatory. It was just straight to the point. And I think that's perfectly fine, because this guy is in a business situation. I wouldn't want him to talk like I do. I wouldn't want him to go out there and call these left-wing perverts and degenerates and moral demons freaks and other things like that. I'll do that. This guy should focus strictly on making his game the best it can possibly be, creating the best value for money that he possibly can, and trying to bring in as many people into the experience so that other people can enjoy the game, because it's a live service game. The more people you have, the more enjoyable it is. And I think that's an amazing thing. So I wanted to talk about this. It's not really that big of a deal, but it is in its own way, because it shows that people are now feeling more comfortable speaking out and reaching out and going public about their statement about DEI and that it's bad. And that is a win. That is a step in the right direction. Is it the be-all and end-all? No. Would I have maybe chuckled if he went a little bit harder? Sure. But in the end, these games and these people behind the scenes, they should be making games for their customers. And that's what I got to say about that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not black-pilled. I think more positive things are to come. And this is a step in the right direction. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know if you agree. And on that note, have a wonderful night. Thanks for supporting the channel, and I'll see you next time.